We've arrived at Lake Minden Thousand Trails. Let me show you around. Like most Thousand Trails campgrounds, there's pluses and minuses. The plus, Lake Minden's in a great location. There's lots of, this is a great place to stop and resupply. There's Sam's Club and Costco, just a little bit south of Lincoln, which isn't too far from here. Lots of restaurants and shopping. Good place to resupply. The campground, let's go take a look at the campground. So after you enter, when we entered, there was nobody here at this welcome shack. The welcome center is labeled over there. So this is section A. This is where you'll find the full hookup sites. Again, only 30 amp. I'm going to walk you down a couple of these rows. The laundry is also down here. We'll stop at the laundry. But wow, wait till you see how tight some of these sites are. This is one of the sections in the A section. See how close all the RVs are, and they're not that deep of a site. I couldn't get my fifth wheel in here and then put the tow vehicle in front of it. Even that Jayco Class C is having a tough time getting in his spot. Another issue is there are RV sites like right smack up against the cabins. So if you're renting a cabin here, surprise, surprise, you're going to have an RV like 4 feet from your cabin. I mean, this is like nuts. Why they ever did this is just beyond me. Look at the steps. They're coming out and they're right up against the cabin. So then, you know, you pay a good penny for these cabins, and man, I would not be a happy camper coming out and finding somebody camping in an RV less than 4 feet from where my cabin is. That's cabin 27. There's the lake. There's some more cabins. But on this side, this is where they have all the way down these cabins. There are RV sites. And see that row of cabins there? We're going to walk down the other side there in a minute. But you see how close they are to that cabin? Okay, so we have a cabin right there, and right next to the cabin, that is a site. Ladies and gentlemen, that is a site. You got a tree on one side, that's site 48, tree on one side, and then the cabin steps on the other side. And it is not all that deep. And just to illustrate, yeah, 30 amp. Water, and you do have solar. And there's another example of just how close some of the campsites are to the cabin. Yeah, and this is their full hookup section. So I'm still in section A. That's Lake Minden. There's a couple more cabins over that way. You have a playground, then on the other side here is the laundry. Let me take you down the laundry. This is the laundry. Melody and I opted not to use this laundry. You'll see why in a minute. We went down to Lincoln today, went to the laundromat in Lincoln, not too far from the neighborhood Walmart. Very nice facility. Got the laundry done in about an hour and a half. So here is the laundry facility. That's it. That's how much space you have to work with. And Melody usually does this part of the video, but it looks like you got 4 washers. You have a little folding table, you have a garbage can, but there's just enough room to walk in. I'm all the way in. So if you have, looks like it's $1.25 to dry, and it looks like $2 to wash. Looks like it takes quarters. Okay, I'm not as good as for the laundry room as Melody is, but I guess that'll do it. again, we opted not to use the on-site laundry here at Lake Minden Thousand Trails because of how tight it is. This is the lodge at Lake Minden Thousand Trails. And they do have a TV back in the corner. I haven't tried to turn it on, but that's the couch and television set. This is what I found. Not like your typical Thousand Trails, but then, you know, Thousand Trails is a mixed bag, and you really don't know what you're going to get unless you've checked it out. If you're rolling in for the first time, you really don't know what to expect unless you've done some research. This is the lodge. So I'm back in the front. This is the welcome center. This is where you'll come in to check in. They do have ice here. Caddy corner from the welcome center, there is an on-site restaurant. Melody and I are spending 4 nights here. We have not tried the restaurant out, so I can't comment on that. It has a pretty waterfront out here. Okay, well, it's raining today, and it's going to rain even harder tomorrow, so I'm finishing this video up. We are in the D section. I just pulled out of my campsite, and this is my favorite loop. This campground is one way and it makes a loop around the lake, and then you have various different loops off of the campground road that goes around the lake. And there's a portion that's real narrow, and everyone that comes out here basically will have to go around that road because the loop is one way. So I'm gonna show you some dash cam footage of the narrow section, so you're not completely surprised if you decide to camp at Lake Minden Thousand Trails. On the way to that narrow spot is section C. I'm just entering section C now, so I might as well show you some of it. This appears to be dry camping in section C. So I would imagine this wouldn't be of interest to most folks, but they do have a dry camping section, and that's what you'll find in section C. Here is the real narrow part. You got the lake on the right and a drop off on your left. I would think some of this vegetation is going to scrape the side of my fifth wheel. It is narrow, and this brings you right back into the entrance to Lake Minden Thousand Trails. So making my way back around the campground loop, I've come upon section B, heading back to where I'm camped in section D. This looks like it's tent camping. Got a couple tents in there. There's a set of restrooms off to my left. You do have Lake Minden off to my right. Okay, I'm entering section D now. Stay straight ahead. That's the way we went to go, where I showed you where the narrow part of the loop was. And turning down in here, you have various different loops, and where you see that fifth wheel, that sprinter off to the left, that is the dump station. Melody and I have a site out toward the outer perimeter. this will give you an idea what you're looking at if you decide to camp at Lake Minden, Thousand Trails. I'm turning on the outer loop now. It's called Snowbird Avenue. And Melody and I are right on the other side of this Class A. There's a Tiffin on my left-hand side, and that's my rig right there. There are advantages of having a fifth wheel. You have a built-in front porch on a rainy day. Some final thoughts on Lake Minden Thousand Trails. It's in a good location. It's not far from Interstate 5 running down through the center of California. In fact, we were coming from the north heading south, and whether you're going north or south, it's in a convenient location. It's the last 1,000 trails if you're heading north, and it's the first 1,000 trails if you're heading south. That's close to I-5 if you're traveling that corridor. So, and it was a great place to resupply. Melody and I are both Costco and Sam's Club members. When Melody and I leave Lake Minden Thousand Trails, we're heading to our next bucket list destination. That would be Yosemite National Park. Boy, are we stoked. Yeah, I'm going to do some hiking in Yosemite. I think I'm going to wrap it here. I'll have the upload and download speeds for Verizon, AT&T, and T-Mobile in the written video description on YouTube. If you like these videos, like and subscribe, and I'll see you down the road.